welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate you. In my last video, which I'll link up here, I talked about how much to charge as a consultant, and it ended up being kind of a long video, and it ended up being like a 20-minute video, and I wanted to turn it off. But one of the things I kind of started talking in there was scope creep, essentially. So in that last video, I talked about how to charge as a consultant, if you should be project-based, retainer, or hourly rate. With hourly rate, you don't really have that scope creep problem because you're working by the hour, and before, if your client asks you to do something, be like, oh, hey, we're over the agreed upon hours per month. If you want me to do this, I'll need to charge you XYZ. But with project-based and retainer, we don't really have that ability. So how do you push back on a client if they're getting into scope creep? And I shouldn't say I never had this problem. I've had it come up. I've had the problem, but it's always been dealt with very professionally. So I haven't worried about it too much because, like I said in my last video, when you are on a retainer, maybe not so much with a project-based fee, but when you're on a retainer and you're charging $5,000 a month or whatever it is, you know that some months the work is going to be heavy and some months the work is going to be light. And I know that maybe that next month I'm going to go on vacation for a week and I'm not going to respond to emails. So I'm only working 3 weeks out of 4, but I'm still going to charge them $5,000 for that month, right? I'm not charging that. So I've never had a real problem with this. And most of my clients, I would say pretty much all of my clients, are really good about not going above and beyond what they've asked me to do. Or if they do, they're like, oh, hey, is this included in our scope or whatever? And also one of the things to really avoid scope creep is to really have that contract or that initial discussion laid out in a Word document or in your initial meeting, like, I am going to do XYZ for you. This is what we're going to do. And sometimes it's kind of hard, like especially if you do public relations, you can't guarantee that you get them placed in the local paper or in the New York Times or whatever. You can't guarantee that, but obviously you're going to try. With social media that I do, it's a little bit easier because I'd be like, well, I'm going to do 3 posts for you a week, 2 stories a day, and that's that. Whatever it is. And I'm going to do it on these platforms, and that's that. You want me to do more than that. You want 4 stories a day and 4 posts a week, and you want to add a 3rd platform or a 4th platform. Now, that's going to cost you. You want detailed reporting, that's going to cost you, right? So like sometimes with clients, it's best to almost give them an ABC monthly retainer, what you get, right? This is my proposal. A for $5,000, B is $4,000, and C is $3,000. And you can watch more videos on this or whatever, but a lot of people say, like, there's like psychology behind it. If you offer 3 things and you make that middle one, the B one, like the best value one, you see it all the time. Like you buy tickets somewhere and like the 2 on the outside are like small, but that one it's like this is the one you want. So yeah, you make that middle one at $4,000 look the most enticing, but it's also like that $5,000 one, which probably gets you more posts, more platforms, more this, more that. It shows them that I'm not going to deliver that to you unless you pay for it. And if you do want it, now you know it's going to be an extra $1,000 a month, right? So I think that has been helpful to me too. Not laying out when you start working with a client the P's and Q's of what they want done and what the expectations are and everything. That's probably the biggest problem. Besides how much to charge, like undercharging, the biggest problem is undercharging. The second biggest problem is not being clear on what you are going to deliver and what that client wants. And sometimes the two things don't meet. The client has one expectations and you have another expectations, and you guys aren't meeting in the middle. And that sometimes happens too. So, yeah. But scope creep can be avoided just by having conversations, honestly, just by communicating with your client and explaining to them this is exactly what you're going to be doing and making it very clear. Some people at the end of the month might give a report of everything that they do. I don't do that with my clients. I don't. I am an adult. You are an adult. You asked me to do XYZ during the month. I am going to do XYZ during the month. Sometimes I might send them, like, I do, for my social media clients, I do send a monthly report of analytics. I use a third-party analytical tool. I don't use Meta or anything like that. So that's kind of a touch base of, like, look how great I am. And I don't do it for every client. Again, they have to pay for it. That third-party tool is expensive, so they have to pay for it. But yeah, I'm curious how you avoid scope creep. And I don't know if it's ever, like, bitten you in the butt. Sometimes scope creep just has to bite you in the butt, like, one time really good, and then you're like, okay, now I know what to do. Now I know how to avoid this moving forward. So I never want to go through that again. It's an awkward conversation. No one wants to go through it. Obviously, you want to get paid, right? So you're going to send that invoice and be like, please pay me. Yeah, but if you want that calculator that I talked about in my previous video, I'll link it in the description below. It's a consultant rate calculator. It's really interesting because it goes through the taxes and what your take-home pay and all that you want. Everyone should use this tool because everybody underestimates not only the taxes, but I think we also forget that we still need to contribute to our retirement. So you can kind of play with it and see. But yeah, let me know if you find this useful. I appreciate you. Like and subscribe to the channel. See you next time.